Hello there. Welcome to my Sharpening playlist. If you look around my channel, you'll see that I've got a lot of playlists. I've got a lot of interests. And if I tried to do a YouTube channel dedicated to every interest that I have, that I put online and share with people, there's no way I could keep up. I have 3 channels now. This main channel, a channel called Hand Tool Wood Guy, which I use hand tools to build things with. Currently in the middle of instrument building right now. And then a Mike Baker Music channel where I teach beginner guitar. But if you know me, this channel is mainly dedicated to traditional shaving. And if you look behind me, you can see the shaving brushes, aftershaves, that kind of deal from that hobby. And you will see this view quite a bit probably on this playlist. But another thing that I've done since I was a tiny little kid, since I was very young, from like 11 or 12, is to sharpen knives. And with the woodworking channel and the shaving channel, since I use straight razors, sharpening is important in all of those. But this channel, what I want to do is kind of dedicate this channel to the beginner knife sharpener, at least to start. I want to talk to you about the basics of sharpening, because it doesn't matter what you are learning. The most important thing is to get the basics down properly and to revisit those basics from time to time, so that when you've been doing it a while, your technique doesn't slip, but you go back to those basics over and over again. One of the things you'll see on this channel, or on this playlist rather, is you'll see a wide variety of different types of stones. I have these stones because I sharpen knives, I sharpen tools, I sharpen and hone straight razors. There's a difference between sharpening and honing, and we'll get into that in videos, future videos. But you don't need all of that. One of the things that I would tell you, and what I would try to teach you, what you need to understand, is that the stone's not that important. Now, I know people are going to go, why? That's not true. Well, it is. Okay? Yes, depending on what kind of edge you're looking for, how refined you want that edge, how much tooth you want on that edge, things like that. Okay? And sometimes what the tool is going to be used for will dictate different types of stones or different grits of stones, higher progressions like in the thousands and up. But for most general knife work, like your pocket knife that you're carrying, the stone's not that important. It's the technique that's important. How you move the blade across that stone, and whether or not you can do it consistently with a consistent angle, that's going to make the difference between whether you have a sharp knife or a kind of sharp knife, or a dull knife, or whether you on that stone for 2 hours and can't get an edge on it. It's going to be technique that wins today. And to illustrate the point, when I was young, there was one of 2 stones that I would use. Either an old coarse grit stone, like something like this. This is either aluminum oxide or silicon carbide. I think it's aluminum oxide, just by the way it feels, the way it works. Okay, that's a fairly coarse stone. It's like 150 grit, and it's cheap. This stone new probably cost $20 or maybe $5. You never know, because the thing of it is you can also find really crappy, and this is a really crappy stone, okay, but I spent $2 on this stone Well, this one was probably given to me, but you can buy these for like $2 on a cheap, in a cheap tool store, discount tool store, that kind of deal. Okay. The only stone that I had that was actually any count as far as the quality of it went when I was younger was a soft Arkansas stone, and that's a fantastic stone. If you're sharpening knives, I highly recommend that you pick one of those up. You can get a really nice one for like $35, and probably less for a smaller one and all of that. But you can get a pretty big one for $35-40, and it's well worth the money. But to illustrate what I'm talking about, for years I had a stone that was probably even coarser than this. It was a round flat disc, and it was about that big around. And it was a stone that was meant to be used to sharpen hatchets and axes and stuff like that. You used it with circular motions on the stone. It was round. That was the best way to use the thing. And I used that stone for years on my knives and my pocket knives. And I used to work 40 years ago at a golf course in Florida. And everybody that worked on the golf course, pretty much, except me and one other guy, okay, were Jamaicans and Haitians. They came over in the summertime, in the springtime, and they stayed for several months. There was actually a section in town where they all stayed called the quarters. Okay, and what they did was they would come over to the United States to pick oranges and stuff like that, to find work, and they would, make as much money as they could, and then go back home. But some of them stayed, and they would find jobs wherever. And I had a boatload of them that were working with me at a golf course that I worked at. The only other guy that was American was an African-American fella. He was like the foreman. Okay, I forget his title, but foreman is close enough. And I had a lot of trouble with the Jamaicans and the Haitians because I was the only white guy there. And I had to step up regularly and show them, look, I'm not going to take any crap from you. And so I struggled with that, because I was constantly getting into confrontations with them and stuff like that. But we ran around on the golf course in golf carts. And the golf cart that I used, it had a problem leaking oil. And so I would, in the mornings in the shop, I would check the oil and all. And then I'd come in, once or twice during the day to put oil in the thing. And the one time that I was there, the foreman was there. And we were talking, shooting the breeze. I don't even remember about what. And I was fixing to add oil to the golf cart. And they had a water cooler, and they had those, those paper cones. Okay? They're not a cup. They're cone shaped. Well, what I would do, I had an old Schrade pocket knife, and I kept it sharp enough to shave off of that round, really coarse round disc. And so what I would do is I would get one of those cones, and I'd take that knife, and it would slice the tip of that cone off. And then I would use that for a funnel. So he and I were talking, and I got one of those little cones, took my pocket knife out. Well, it was a sheath. It was a folding knife with a sheath, and sliced the bottom of that little cone off. And the foreman said, "Dude, that's a seriously sharp knife." And I said, "Yeah, they're not really any good if they don't have an edge on them." And he must have went back and spoke to the Haitians and the Jamaicans, because I never had any problem out of any of them after that. That's the only thing I can think of, because it just flipping stopped. Okay, I never complained to the guy. I never said, "Look, I'm having a problem," or anything like that. But I think he saw the sharpness of that knife. The only thing that I know that would have caused that reaction. Because if you know anything about particularly Jamaicans, they respect a sharp blade. Okay. He must have went back and told them something about that knife, because they just stopped giving me any problems. I never had a lick of problem after that. As a matter of fact, I had one of them ask me, how sharp is that knife you've got? So I really think that's what happened. But the point I'm making is that edge, it was a really nice sharp edge. It would shave hair. It would slice cleanly through that paper, just, okay? Was produced on a really coarse stone. And the way it was produced was through technique. Alright? It wasn't because the stone was anything great. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You'll see a lot of different stones in this channel. 3/4 of the stones that you'll see that I have were gifts from somebody else. Because they either saw my shaving channel, my hunting playlist, or they knew me and knew that, you know, I was into sharpening and honing and stuff like that, and so they gifted me a Christmas, and sometimes just out of the blue, you know, one would come in the mail. So I'm grateful to that, but I want you to understand that you don't have to spend a boatload of money. I can sharpen anything on just about anything, you know, because I have technique. And so that's what I want you to learn in this channel. Now, as we progress, the techniques might get a bit more advanced, but we're going to start out with basic technique so that we understand what we're doing, and then progress through to, you know, more advanced techniques. So I hope that you'll come with me if you're interested in learning how to, even just how to keep the knife in your pocket sharp. Okay, I hope that you will come with me and enjoy these videos, and that you'll be able to apply what I show you to whatever situation and whatever edge it is that you need. Bless you, and I hope you enjoy your time here. Later.